This is Amplifyou, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified.
All right, phase 4. So this is how do you manage your podcast on a weekly basis? And then, as I was just mentioning a second ago, you can have us do it all for you, which makes it really easy. All you need to do is just give us your episode each week. The other thing you can do is you can create yourself a schedule and a checklist. So I was mentioning batching things. So this is what this sheet is all about. So figure out what days you're going to record on, and then what days are you going to edit and publish your shows, and then what days are you going to schedule guests on, and then what days are you going to promote your show. So those are all things that need to be done to run your podcast. What days are you going to do those things, and where are you going to fit them into your schedule? So those would be the things that I would think about. This doesn't include planning the content. We just got back from content planning camp. We did content creation camp in Mexico a few weeks ago with some of our clients. There was about 17 of us in total. It was so much fun. Brayden was there with us. It was a blast. We had a great time and we got so much content created. We just got the videos and the photos back yesterday. We had a videographer come take videos and take pictures of our clients. We had recording studios where we were staying in Mexico so people could record episodes. They had so much fun connecting with each other. They were recording each other, and it was really cool. So it was a place that people could come, have a lot of fun, be in Mexico, but also get some content recorded for your podcast. So we're doing another one in February. So at the end of February, February 22nd. So if you're interested in more information about the content creation camp in Mexico, put Mexico in the chat and we'll make sure that we email you the information after this call. So it was a lot of fun. It was a cool way to get like lots of content done in one place.
I think the record was 15 episodes recorded in those 7 days.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. That's not bad when you're only recording in between salsa dance lessons and time at the beach and photography sessions and
a private yacht. Yeah. Super fun. Brayden, do you want to talk about the guest booking system? I'm just going to grab a quick water.
Certainly. So as you are finding, sometimes just speaking on your own for periods of time, you run out of content. So interviews become really easy part to have that banter, that back and forth. We're often inspired by other people's words and questions so that we can share our own advice. So having guests on your show is a really great way to also add social proof because you're bringing people on that are saying similar things that you are about your work. To get this down and make this easy for yourself, you want to create a guest booking system. So personally, we use Calendly, just a simple calendar booking tool. But what we love about it is the system allows you to customize the questions that you're asking people when they're booking time on your calendar. You can customize these questions to get the information that you need in order to provide the best interview questions you can. So ask them questions about, what would make this a great interview for you? How can we support your business growth with our interview questions? What is your call to action? Where do you want people to go when the show is over? These types of customized questions really help you, again, narrow down your episode so that it provides that short, concise, but impactful value. When you're getting information from them, you want to ensure that you're collecting a headshot, their biography, and their social links and call to action. From our team, what we do is when we are putting a guest episode up, we're going to put their image on your own cover art. And then we're going to do an audiogram or a videogram. What that is we take a clip from that interview and we put it onto your cover, which has their face on it. This has a multi-purpose. It allows you to share out to social media who your guest was and a little piece of advice or a little nugget from that conversation to entice people to go listen to the full episode. You also give that to your guest, which then because it has their image on it and some of their phrasing on it, they're more likely to share with their audience. And this is really how you grow your show, because you're getting your information in front of somebody else's network and audience, which is drawing people back to your show. So we use Calendly. Captivate is our hosting platform. It also has guest booking system, as Michelle mentioned earlier, which allows you to draw all of your guest information into your show notes super easily. That's all back-end stuff, very technical. We won't get into details on that. Then as far as attracting the right audience members, it's really important that you network within your community. So if you know the topic that you're talking about, there's going to be Facebook groups, there's going to be networking groups out there that are all relevant to that topic. The more you can be social, and if your social media has the branding of your podcast and your business, then as your social, providing advice, you don't have to always be pitching or selling, but you can be contributing to conversations on social media. People will get curious about how you became an expert with this advice. They'll click on your name. They're going to see your show. They're going to see the types of people you have. And then you're there and you're welcoming them into your show. I got totally distracted as Karen Kenny jumped on because hello, nice to see you. One of our first podcasters and still coming to these events. So it's lovely to see your face.
I always like to say, like, Karen was like the pivotal, like, wow, we love working with spiritual entrepreneurs. And I'm like, we want to be like the Hey House of podcasting. And then Karen Kenny comes along and she's like, I'm going to have Marianne Williamson on my show. I'm like, well, see, so cool, right? It was just meant to be. We love Karen's show. You guys got to check it out. It's the Karen Kenny Show. She's got an awesome, awesome show. She's been working with us for a few years. And I hear her 200th episode is coming up in January. So super exciting. So it's awesome when you hit those milestones and think back to the beginning and think about how much work went into it, into thinking about it and creating of it. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. All right, you guys. So we're wrapping up here. And I just want to share with you, we've shared a lot about, the 5 phases of the podcast, 5 phases of the podcast success blueprint. So this is, again, going back to the beginning. So your phase 1 is your message. So really spend some time here thinking about, maybe over the holidays, even if you're really eager to get your podcast going, really sink into your listeners, sink into your audience. Who is it? Who's your message for? And then how can you make this message, how can you get in front of the people you want to get in front of in your business to move the needle in your business? As I mentioned to you before, it doesn't have to be every person you're interviewing, but those 2 or 3 people that I've met from my podcast in the last few years added thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to my business just from those relationships. So think about, who would you like to be a joint venture partner with? Who can you see, yourself having as a client? And who are those people that you can be having those conversations with that you wouldn't have any other reason to invite them on your show? I'm going to be interviewing Christina, and she is the co-founder of Mind Valley. If you guys have heard, Mind Valley is $1 billion company online. That's an online education place for personal development. And she is launching a book in January, in the new year, called Flossom. And so she sent out this publicity sprint that she wanted to be on as many shows as she can in January, February, as the book is launching. And so she's using it as a launching tool for her book, getting on podcasts as a guest. And so I get to interview her, right? I probably wouldn't have any other reason to interview her, but she's pretty awesome. And they have connections with so many amazing people that I'm really excited to just, meet her and have that conversation. I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't have a podcast. And they're not once did they ever ask, how many listeners do you have? Not once has anyone really said no to being on the podcast. So it's a really cool tool that you can use to open all sorts of doors for you in your business. Okay. So phase 1, messaging. Phase 2, this is the making of your podcast. What are all the pieces that go together? Phase 3, after we've launched, now how do we repurpose the content? How do we go on social media, and what's our cadence of putting it out there? What do we do to market this thing? And I'm going to tell you, one of the things on here that is not on this whole sheet, but we have a whole other training for, that's the podcast success blueprint for guests, is getting on other shows is one of the best ways that you can promote your show. and leading people back to your followers. All right. Managing your show. How can you work with your team or our team, or how do you manage your show on a weekly basis so that you can know that this is a long-term strategy? The growth that you see after 6 months to a year is very different than what you see the first 3 months. So you really want to know that podcasting is a long-term strategy. It's a long-term game. And so many businesses are saying that podcasting is like having a website, because you're preparing your listeners to come and work with you. So they come up, showing up and saying, where do I sign? And here's my credit card, instead of, oh, tell me about your services. They already know you. They already like you. They already trust you. They're ready to start working with you. Okay. So monetizing your podcast is phase 5. Now, we talked about that right at the beginning, and we want you to think about how you can bridge your podcast to your business. What's the link between them all? How can you make that work? So we've seen lots of clients that this works like clockwork. They are filling their events. They're filling their programs. They're having clients, like I mentioned, coming up, showing up for conversations. They're pre-qualifying people through the content that they're seeing on the podcast. All right. So those are all the things. If you guys, there's 2 different options you have right now. And I mentioned earlier that I was going to share with you at the end, how is a way that you could work with us. So we do 2 different things. The one way that you can work with us is that you can have us do it all for you. So you come to us, you're going to work with us like Dina and Maggie are, like Karen did, and we're going to take your idea. We're going to help you figure out where it fits best in your business. We're going to strategize on it, and then we're going to take your ideas and launch your show. We're going to do the cover art, the music, get your music license. We're going to show you how to set up your recording equipment. We're going to do all of that for you, and we're going to do it all for you over the course of many sessions together, one-on-one. And then we are going to take your podcast and we are going to publish it every week for you ongoing. So that package is our 6-month package. The idea is that you launch in the first 30 to 45 days, and then you have the rest of the time for our support ongoing for 6 months. After 6 months, most people just keep sticking around with us. Or at that point might be time for a new refresh, a new cover art, or new something or other. And then we can work with you on that. So that is our main package, our done for you package. And if that's for you, then I'm going to give you a link to book a call. I'm going to have a conversation with you. Just make sure that it's the right fit for you. And we'd love to welcome you into our Amplifyou family. Now, I realize that's not for everyone, and maybe you have a little bit more time. There was quite a few of you guys that those are the people that are ready. So if they're ready, they know they're ready to go. Dina and Maggie were those people. They're coming to us. We start with them next week already before the holidays, which is awesome. And we're super excited to do that. For those of you that we're maybe in the thinking phase still, and you might want to spend a little bit more time in launching, we do have a 12-week group coaching program, which is going to be working with Brayden and I over the course, and Troy, of course, to launch this show over the course of 12 weeks. And you're going to come to those calls. You're going to watch the information first and come to those calls with your questions so that we can brainstorm and we can work on things. That is starting in January. And like I said before, if you're not embarrassed by your first few episodes, you waited too damn long to get them out there. Just saying, now is the time. There's no better time than now. You need a podcast. A podcast is going to be the best tool in your business. And so we just do all those things for you. So there is this group coaching program does have done for you stuff as well. We're going to do your cover, give you a guest cover art, some social media templates, your intro, your outro. We're going to put them to music, help you put them on those first 5 episodes, help you set up your podcast hosting and get you launched properly. Okay. This is the key with this program. This is a launched properly program. When you're done with this program, if you'd like to continue on with podcast management with us, you can. If you feel like you've gotten your training wheels and you're ready to take them off and do it on your own, totally. You can do that as well. So those are the 2 of the options. As you can see, you can book a call there, but let me just give you a more specific link here in a second, because I want you to go to one that I've reserved time in the next 2 days. So Sunday and Monday, I put aside some time to speak to anyone who wants to get going. If you're serious about this and you're ready to get going, then I would love for you to book this 15-minute one on Sunday and Monday. Those are the only 2 times available on the calendar, because I don't think I've updated the other book of calls to somebody that might have just put in there. So use the Calendly link that I just posted. And I'd love to chat with you.
Thank you, family, for joining us on this adventure. If you're ready to be heard, head over to mypodcastcoach.com, where you'll find out all the tools and tips you'll need to launch your podcast today. If you have a show already and you need some help managing it, please head over to managemypodcast.com, and the Amplifyou team would be happy to help you manage your podcast. Please also head over to iTunes, like, subscribe, and review our show so we can spread this message. And until next time, be your own unique genius.